Welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that's getting all fancied up and heading to New York to talk about the season. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 36 Double Agents Reunion Part 1. Now, before we get into the review and recap of this reunion, I first want to just mention that I'm not going to go over every single question and every single comment on the reunion. I'm going to mainly touch on the bigger topics that were brought up and then going over some of the comments. I want to give you the broader picture, the bigger picture, while also giving my opinion on the reunion and everything that was brought up. And I also want to mention that personally, I'm not a big fan of the reunions in general, especially this season. I feel it's kind of superfluous to have a two-part reunion, especially after this season where we had such a great post-show after every single episode, where we got to listen into how some of the players felt after each episode and their decisions. So I feel like this is just rehashing on the rehashing of what we already heard. But without further ado, right off the bat, this reunion is definitely feeling different in vibes than, say, last season. Last season, in total madness, the pandemic was hitting hard. Everybody was on lockdown, so we had a only Zoom reunion. And now coming into this season's reunion, we had a lot of people in studio. We had CT, Nany, Kam, Cory, Leroy, Amber B, Casey, Josh, Devin, Tori, Anissa, Fessy, and also we had swapping in was Ashley, Amber M, and Jay. And then coming on via Zoom was Big T, Kyle, Gabby, Nelson, Darrell, and Nam. So having that in-studio feel really helped out this reunion in feeling a little bit more like, say, the reunions of old, way more than, say, last season's reunion at least. Coming into this reunion, the host was going to be Vernon Davis, who did it last season. Last season, I thought he did a decent job. This season, part one, he did all right again. I think a lot of fans, after seeing how well Devin did in the post show after every single episode, I think a lot of fans wanted to see her as the reunion host, or at least the co-host. I was really hoping to see that, but alas, we only got Vernon Davis, which I feel like he had signed a multi-reunion deal, so that's why he was brought on again. He really doesn't have his peaks and valleys. He just really stays at a constant pace and a consistent pace throughout the reunion. There was some awkwardness in some of the questioning. We'll just get into it. For topic one, they were talking about how this season was much different than past seasons, as you could pick your own partners. And of course, Fessy was brought up saying how much he was upset by being picked by Anissa, but he brought up the fact that he was more upset in the fact that he didn't have any choice. He was able to win his heat, but he didn't really have a choice like everybody else did because Anissa decided to pick him. We also go back over CT snubbing Kam, which he brings up that he probably shouldn't have done that in episode 1, that looking back in hindsight, he should have just said yes instantly to Kam being his partner. But the way the season went, I don't know if CT would really want to change anything that he did, because he did get a good partner in Big T. They did work really well in the season together. He got his gold skull and he ultimately went on to win this season. So I don't know how much CT is willing to look back and go oh, I should have done this instead of this, because it's kind of like the butterfly effect. If you do one thing differently, the whole thing could have just unraveled. Topic 2 was the finals, and so we have Vernon asking about CT's weight loss, which Leroy was talking about how CT looks like he lost even more weight since the season. And then this is where we get into the little bit of the awkwardness, because when bringing up the weight loss and him feeling better, he brought up that there was underlying issues that he wasn't dealing with, which also led to more issues. And that's when Vernon is like, well, what's the status of your marriage? What's your marital issues? How is that going? And you could tell that CT was a bit uncomfortable. I think Vernon was a bit uncomfortable asking CT the question, and then CT just didn't want to air out his laundry on national TV, which it makes a lot of sense why. But he tried to bring it back into the challenge realm of being well, it was kind of like being in the challenge house where we were on lockdown. We were always in each other's way and kind of getting on each other's nerves kind of thing. So it was better that he was out of the house and doing the challenge in this time. Amber talks about how great winning was and passing Fessy. So she calls out Fessy, takes a little dig at him, and Fessy's just like a little frustrated by that. Casey goes a little bit more into her knee injury and saying that she definitely needed to get surgery. That's when Vernon looks over to Fessy and turns it over to him and goes, so you didn't eat. You kind of quit on that eating challenge. And that's when Fessy is talking about the situation as a whole, saying that, oh, well, because of Casey's injury, why would I eat if TJ's just going to turn around and go, oh, well, she's unfit to run the final, so you both are going to be purged out. And then Vernon touches on the Survive the Night daily challenge, saying that, hey, you didn't even eat on that one either when you were paired up with Anissa earlier in the season. Maybe you just don't like to eat. Why don't you just say it? And later on in the reunion, but I'm just going to touch on it right now, but later on in the reunion, Fessy is talking about how Nany came up to him before that challenge saying, like, you can't win this. If you win this and become the double agents, I can't steal you, and I want to steal you when I go into the elimination this episode. So Fessy was trying to use that like, oh, well, I couldn't win, but ultimately he wasn't going to eat that stuff anyways. Then in this reunion, it was a little weird because they decided to have like the green lights turn on, and they were going to like bring up like tweets and Instagram lives from the competitors' like personal accounts and kind of put them out on blast there. We get this like Instagram live where Fessy's talking about how put him in a one-on-one physical elimination and he's going to beat anybody. And I don't know, this part really fell flat to me. I think they were trying to give some players storylines like Ashley and Nelson, where Ashley put out a tweet saying that some people are kind to your face but will say something completely different when you're not around, and that was directed towards Nelson. They had a big blow up. I think because they were trying to hold off on the Nelson Fessy storyline for part 2 of the reunion, they decided to have Nelson show up on Zoom so that him and Ashley could have this big blowout in front of everybody, which Nelson apologizes to Ashley for and says that in the next season that they are on together, that Nelson won't vote for Ashley, which is very funny, but I highly doubt that that would be the case. While also being on the topic of the finals, Devin calls out Fessy saying that, hey, look, you got last place in both your finals that you were in. You know who else got last place? Me. I got last place in the finals of Rivals 3. So guess what? We're like the same player, which Fessy then rebuttals saying that, well, you suck at the challenge. The next topic that was brought up was the Big Brother sucks comments and why Devin was able to get underneath Josh and Fessy's skin so easily. And Devin was like, I didn't even put it in first gear because I just threw out Big Brother sucks, and it got such a reaction that I just kept on going with it. And then they bring up some Instagram pictures of both Devin and Josh like hanging out, vacationing outside of the challenge house, and they both say that they like each other outside of the challenge house, which makes me feel like possibly they won't be at each other's throats the next season that they're on together. And if they are, will it feel more manufactured than what it felt like this season where they were really butting heads? I feel like it could feel a little bit more manufactured heading into the next season. Topic 4 was Kam and Leroy being the power couple, and I really enjoyed this portion of the reunion because they were talking about their history of their relationship and how they met on vendettas. It kind of sparked up from there, and how much turmoil that they were in when they were on the War of the Worlds reunion, and to see how far they've come to this point. And even Nany gets a lot choked up because she's like, again, she's known Leroy since she was 21, and seeing the man he is today and how much he is in love with Kam and how much he has evolved from where he was on, say, the Real World Las Vegas to where he is now in his life, in his love life, in his personal life. They really, really are just so much in love with each other. They are couple goals. A fun topic that was brought up was how many times that people wore the same outfits in their confessionals, and come to find out, a lot of the production was like, hey, this is a spy themed season. We want you to dress up like spies. So instantly the first thing that everyone thought of was like a black turtleneck. Topic number 7 was partner betrayal. This is where Tori and Devin kind of got the stage to themselves. talking about how that they didn't like each other on the season. Tori was being thrown to the wolves when Devin was partnered up with her, and he was like trying to get her out ASAP, trying to be rogue. They kind of were going back and forth on who took the first shot, but ultimately their beef was squashed. Then Fessy was put on blast for being a bad partner because he felt one way but talked to his partners a different way. So it felt a little bit more like a betrayal, more like two-faced when he would talk to Anissa and Amber saying like, hey, I'm cool with being partners with you. If you can run, I'll happily run the finals with you. But then seeing his confessionals during the season and being like, I don't want to be partnered up with Anissa. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I want to be partnered up with somebody else. It just comes off super fake. That's when everybody was like, well, just be upfront and honest with people. Like, if you didn't want to be partners with Anissa or Amber, it's okay to say something. Anissa said on multiple occasions and even multiple episodes of the podcast that if Fessy would have just been honest with her and upfront with her, then they could have made arrangements to figure out a way to get them split apart from each other. This was even kind of brought up with CT and Big T because, of course, they're going to bring up when CT dropped Big T as his partner after he won his gold skull and wanted Kam, and that's when CT was upfront with Big T saying like, look, in that moment I should have just been more upfront with you and how I was feeling, because I did think we were doing really, really great on the season together as partners and our chemistry was off the charts, but when it comes to the finals I was thinking a completely different way. And so he apologized to Big T saying that I should have been opening up the lines of communication more and I should have been more upfront with my feelings. Topic number 8 was layups in the house, and of course this is going to be mainly towards Tori, and they bring out Amber M onto the stage and they're going to have their conversation. Amber M calls Tori and Anissa the mean girls of the house, which Anissa and Tori both hate that moniker. They don't want to be known as the mean girls of the house, but Tori does say that, look, my strategy in going into the house is that if I'm going to be voting you in at some point or trying to throw you into the elimination, I don't necessarily want to talk to you because then I feel like I'm coming off fake, which in my mind, it sounds like a weird strategy because that's going to be a lot of people, right? You're going to be voting in a ton of people. If you're not going to want to vote in somebody or not talk to somebody because you think you're going to vote them in, you're going to alienate majority of the house then. Most likely going to vote for like 80% of the house, 70. Only like 8 people are going to make it to the finals, or 10 people because there was 10 skulls. But it alienated a lot of the rookie girls who felt like Tori and Anissa were the quote unquote mean girls. And then Amber M put Tori on blast for apologizing in her DMs, but once in the studio, she wasn't saying like sorry to her face, which then Tori apologizes in studio, right on the spot, on the stage, and Amber M really appreciated it, she said. And then topic number 9, staying with the Tori theme, Fessy and Tori relationship / crush. Tori then brings up that one time in the igloo, Fessy said that he found Tori attractive, and then they bring up the photos of them in Turks and Caicos. Tori says that they didn't necessarily go there together. She made it sound like she was there on her vacation once everything happened between her and Jordan's breakup. She went there to meet up with some friends who worked at some of the resorts there. Fessy, coming off of his 4th place finish in the finals, went there for vacation. They met up, they hung out, they just talked is what they were trying to say. Fessy pleaded the 5th. They bring up Gabby in the beginning, like, oh yeah, Gabby's here. And then they go into this big thing of Fessy and Tori's relationship. And then they go to the commercial break, come back and talk to Gabby about Fessy. And Gabby then brings up Fessy is shy, which I thought that was going to be brought up a lot more, especially by Fessy. But Gabby brings it up, and then both say that they both live in different countries. They never really got together again after the Challenge House. They called each other once, and that was it. Gabby is in a relationship at this moment, and that's when Fessy calls her man a half a man, which I think is totally out of line. And everyone on stage was cringing at his comment. It came off very petty. I did not like it whatsoever, and I think a lot of people were shocked. And then when Vernon and everybody was like, why would you say that? Fessy was like, I didn't say that. I didn't say it. Well, he's just short. He's just short. I said it, but it's like, dude, what are you? Take some accountability and responsibility in stuff that you say and stuff that you do, either on the show or at the reunion. This is the pattern of Fessy, where he just says something or does something and doesn't take full accountability for it. He clearly called her man a half a man, and then when someone asks, what do you mean by that? He's like, I didn't say it. It's like, oh my gosh, dude. Seriously, you're mic'd up, you're in front of everybody. Of course you said it, of course you did it. It was so weird, it was so cringy, and I just thought it was not a good look for Fessy as we went on in that topic. And the final topic we get into is Fessy's betrayal with Nelson, and also Fessy calling out CT in the igloo in that party. But that is where this reunion part 1 ends, and this is where we have the cliffhanger heading into the reunion part 2. What did you think about this reunion? Let me know that in the comment section below. I thought it was just all right, but then again, I'm not a huge fan of the reunion, so take my word and my opinions about it with a grain of salt. But what did you think about it? Let me know that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, just wanted to throw this out there, just a heads up that on April 30th, the Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be going live on Angel Cake Entertainment to do a live season in review for the Challenge Season 36 Double Agents. I'm gonna have 3 friends that are challenge obsessed just like I am, and we're gonna be having a great conversation about the format and the season in general. So if you would like to join us, it's April 30th, this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you there, but thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge 36 content, more content in general, but until then, peace.